You stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bow, bow, bam! Over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So after Canelo Alvarez got completely dominated by Dimitry Bivol, I made my post-fight video and I told you guys, if Canelo decides to take a rematch with Bivol and he loses the rematch, he stands to lose a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's already lost a lot in this fight alone, but it's going to be much worse if he loses the rematch. And Canelo Alvarez, he understands this. So Canelo Alvarez, right after the fight, he went from saying that he wants to run it back, he wants the rematch, to then say at the post-fight press conference, he's not sure if he's going to go after the rematch. Let me go ahead and play the clip.
Hey, Canelo, straight back, getting ready to go. My question for you, Canelo, is even though you say you're going to have the rematch with Dimitry Bivol in your next fight, two things about that. Do you think that at any point you'll reconsider that, maybe talk to Eddie about going through with the Triple G third fight anyway back to defend your titles at super middleweight? And also, do you think you would be back in September for that next fight, or would you want to maybe take a little bit of a longer break?
Yeah, we're gonna go to see what's next, to talk about it, and we'll let you know.
So no commitment then that you will definitely fight Bivol next?
Eso es lo que quiero, eso es lo que pasa por mi mente ahorita nada más, pero iremos a casa y veremos qué es lo que viene después.
Can you translate?
Yeah, so we'll this is what we want. We'll see what happens in the future. We just have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Hi, Canelo. I just spoke with Dimitry Bivol and Vadim just now, and they said that the only way they would go through with a rematch is if you renegotiated the terms that they initially signed to, because they just did it for an opportunity. Are you willing to do that?
We'll see.
Okay, so let me start by saying this. Throughout the press conference, Canelo, he continued to say over and over he was chasing greatness when it comes to him losing to Dimitry Bivol. Well, if this is about chasing greatness, then Canelo has to remember a lot of the greats, they dealt with adversity, fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, where they did end up losing. Like Sugar Ray Leonard, he lost to Roberto Duran. Ali, he lost to Joe Frazier. Both Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali, they avenged that one loss by beating those fighters in a rematch. Not only did they both win the rematch, but they also both won the rubber match. So they won the best out of three, completely closing that chapter in the book. So when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, you can't be saying you're chasing greatness when you're fighting against a guy who's a 5-1 underdog and you don't even know if you want to avenge the loss. You heard Dan Rafael, in some words, basically trying to advise or indirectly advise Canelo Alvarez, maybe it would be a better idea for you to avoid a rematch with Bivol and go after Triple G, the 40-year-old Triple G. And you heard Canelo Alvarez pretty much say that might be the plan. I have to go back and talk to my team. Not committing at all to a rematch with Bivol. And that's because, once again, Canelo Alvarez, he understands the pressure that will be on him to win that fight. There's a very good chance that if Canelo does take that rematch, we can see him doing even worse than he did in the first fight. We might see him go down. We might even see Canelo get stopped in a rematch. And Canelo does understand the risk when it comes to taking this rematch. You know, we keep hearing Canelo and other people try to make it seem like Canelo, he chose Bivol as an opponent. Like, you know, he was chasing greatness. That wasn't the case. Canelo had no choice. Canelo originally wanted to fight Makabu. The problem was DAZN and no other networks would pay for Canelo to fight against Makabu because no one knew who he was and no one would watch it. Which means obviously DAZN or Al Heyman, they would have lost a lot of money paying Canelo Alvarez $30-40 million to fight a relatively unknown cherry pick that no one wanted to see Canelo Alvarez fight against. So what happened was DAZN and PBC, they end up offering Canelo nothing but tough fights, at least when it comes to the first fight. I mean, all of them were tough compared to who Canelo has previously fought in the last 4 years. But PBC, they offered Canelo Alvarez a 3 or a 2 fight deal that included the first fight would be against Jamal Charlo. If Canelo were to get past Jamal, then he would fight either Errol Spence at a catchweight of 164, or he would fight David Benavidez. And then of course DAZN offered him to fight Dimitry Bivol and then Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. So if you think about it, with someone like Canelo Alvarez, who's been on this easy European tour for the last 4 years, offering Canelo Alvarez these 2 multi-fight deals was kind of like telling Canelo Alvarez to pick his poison. So DAZN and PBC, they really messed Canelo Alvarez up by forcing Canelo to step up in competition and take on an extremely tough challenge. You see, if Canelo Alvarez would have got past Bivol and Triple G, it would have been a lot more easier for him to partially justify taking on some more soft touches like a Makabu or a John Ryder. But now that he lost to Bivol, it proves what I have been telling you guys all along in previous videos. Every single time Canelo Alvarez takes a tough challenge, he steps up in competition, he either loses the fight or the fight ends in controversy. And that's exactly what we just seen this past weekend. He lost again. So if Canelo Alvarez from this point on decides to just cherry pick for the rest of his career until he retires, he would just start to become more and more irrelevant in the sport of boxing. Which is why I do believe that Canelo is going to take somewhat of the Roberto Duran, Manny Pacquiao route. Both Manny and Duran, they lost the most important fights of their career. Duran losing to Sugar Ray Leonard and quitting, and Manny Pacquiao losing to Floyd Mayweather. Because of those losses, fighters like Manny Pacquiao and Duran, they were willing to take on even tougher challenges just to make up for the biggest loss of their career. Maybe Canelo will do the same thing. We have to see. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.